No.
No pictures today.
No pictures. How are you? How are you?
Tom.
How's your? Yeah.
Oh, yep, we have.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I made you mad the first time.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. I understand how important that is.
Okay.
And then, there has to be checks and balances. So that's fine. I thought something different was happening.
Which what?
I thought something different was happening that night. I thought maybe Chad was being kind of a shit towards me and you were part of that. But then I found out that you're just very amendment and constitutional
Yes, sir.
minded.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it was a tough question. It was like maybe not like.
I had to dig back.
Yeah.
I left and I looked it up and I was yeah.
How's your first term been?
What's that?
So far, how's your first term gone?
The first 2 years was really tough, very difficult.
Tons of headaches.
I was in a leadership position, and I had worked with most of the crew that was there. And during the first election, there was kind of a bit of division in the office because the captain and I were running against each other, and we both had friends on either side of the aisle.
Yeah.
But now we got past some rough spots just with getting policies in order and people on the same page. And whether that just took cooperation or it took some, some administrative attention, we got that done, which Chad is a part of.
Yeah.
So the last year and a half, it's been great.
Cool.
To tell you, we kind of have a new group around the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that. I think they're a really good group, and I think they're a good group to mature.
Yeah.
And we're all like new wine when we first start out. We're terrible to drink, we're bitter, and with time and as we get to know the communities, we get smoother, we get better. So that's what I'm pushing towards.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice, man. Good to see you, and I appreciate what you do. Maybe I ask you a few more questions later.
bet.
But
You bet.
what is this like? Are you gonna go?
I guess we're gonna speak up front and just talk about ourselves again. And then I think we're going to take some questions, or we're going to break and take questions. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
So
Is Mr. Voigt still running?
he is still running.
Okay.
Yep.
I noticed the sign was down today, but.
Yeah, I think that had to do with some permission issues.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think they called our office, but I referred them to Corey with the city works here because
Okay.
I don't want to be involved.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I got a few questions for you later. Nothing crazy, man. Just we need to get support with the citizens and you guys. There's a huge division, man. All across America, it's getting worse and worse.
It is. But I'll tell you the blessing as a sheriff in Montana and a sheriff here is it's a nonpartisan position.
Mm-hmm.
So our focus is on serving the people. It doesn't depend on what people they are, where they come from, or what their beliefs are.
Yeah.
We're a servant-based organization, and we're here to keep people safe, and we're here to keep property secure, and we're here to be servants to the people. And like I said, I understand that division, but that division can't take place from a law enforcement perspective.
Okay.
We can't pull up to somebody and go, "Oh, you're a Republican, you're good to go."
Right.
It has to be fair. Justice is blind, correct?
Yep.
So that's the way I'd like to see it operate.
Nice, man.
Absolutely. We'll visit again.
All right.
They moved the line back. Yeah, because, it made it more fair. I mean, there's supposed to be equal number of people in each zone. And we should only go for the person in
We're doing this alphabetically. Tom Grimsruud.
Dee Dee, that is unfair to have to follow the teacher who speaks in front of me. I made notes today, but I'm gonna try this without. Hey, no Dee Dee, long time. My name is Tom Grimsruud. I currently serve as the sheriff of Jefferson County. I started my law enforcement, let me back up even a little further. I'm from northeastern Montana, grew up on the High Line. My dad ranched and farmed over by Williston, North Dakota, where the confluence meets the Yellowstone meets the Missouri, Fort Union, right in there. I grew up on a cattle ranch. Went to high school in Culbertson, which is the neighboring community, the rival community to where I spent most of my time. After high school, I joined Montana National Guard. Spent 4 years in Montana National Guard. After boot camp, I went to Minnesota law enforcement school. My second year of school, I started working part-time at 20 years old in Minnesota. My dad had to buy my first handgun for me because I was too young. It allowed a lot of great experience to be gathered. To be 20 years old and working calls and working cases and going back to the college and having my instructors look through the paperwork and my reports and to basically grade how I was doing while I was out working on the road. So I had a lot of great instruction when I was early. I kind of consider it imprinting. I handled dogs for a lot of my law enforcement career, which we do as puppies. We imprint them to how we want them to grow and how they behave and their disposition. So I worked over in Minnesota for about a year. My mom had terminal cancer. I'm the last of 5. My mom, very important person in my life. So I moved back to Montana. Worked at Richland County Jail for a year. Worked part-time in a small community north of there and then was hired on full-time. I worked in that community for 7 years. Spent 4 of those years as the chief of police. Now let me tell you, at 25 years old, being a chief of police, that is just a title. Everybody else is running it. It wasn't amazing. You're a pretty young person to have that kind of responsibility, but there it is. In 1999, I decided to make a move towards the mountains, my family and I interviewed with Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. At that time, the sheriff was Jim Quinlan, and I got hired on. I had a new baby on the way. She's about a month old when we moved over to Clancy. And I have been living in the Clancy area ever since, mostly Jefferson City area, and still to this date. I live up by Corbin, which is west of there, where Commissioner Haggerty grew up. My time with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office has been amazing. It's been scary. Both my opponent and I, we've been in shootings. I've been shot at. I delivered a baby. We've been to accident scenes. We've been to clear plumbing for people because they didn't know what to do. We've been exposed to everything that there is out there, just not maybe as much as the metropolitan area. But when you work in a rural community, we'll have 1 assault and we'll have 100 assaults that week, but we still have to deal with the same kind of calls. We usually do it by ourselves because there's only 2 or 3 of us working during a shift, and we learn to use our mouth, typically. And sometimes it goes beyond that, but those are different stories. I spent my time at the Sheriff's Office as a patrol deputy, a canine handler. I taught armed intruder to teachers both here in Whitehall, Clancy, Montana City, Boulder, how to escape from an armed intruder or how to fight an armed intruder. That was great training. Sometimes when we get to step out of our persona as law enforcement, it's very engaging and it's very gratifying. And I bet you I'm going to run out of time pretty soon. So, as a sheriff, the first 2 years were the hardest 2 years of my life. I had to work with the workers that I worked with for 20 years, and it was horrible because I had a vision. I wanted to see things. My previous boss was really tired, let's just say that. And I wanted to see things tighten up, and I wanted to see it operate efficiently. And it took some growth, and with growth comes mistakes and successes. And hey, just slow down with that. I'm on a roll here. But anyways, I better pick it up quickly. I look forward to another 4 years at the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. I love Jefferson County. This last year and a half for the employees that we have now has been nothing but a blessing to me. How smart they are, how engaging they are. And all we can do the next 4 years is mature, bring people in our communities that we know, that are your deputy sheriffs, and grow. And that's where I'm at. And I will be happy to answer any questions at the end of this. And I did need my book, thank goodness. David can probably attest to this. A lot of us that worked here for 20 years retired or left in 2019. And in 2019, we brought on, just that year was and I wrote them down, about 8 deputies that year. And in my career here, I've worked for 2 sheriffs and 5 undersheriffs. So law enforcement is a unique job. You know, whether it's the challenges of shift work or the challenges of dealing with traumatic scenes, death, criminal investigations that are super disturbing, some of it's not for everybody, you know, and they move on to greener pastures or less stressful pastures. And I'll just be honest, when I became sheriff, I had worked here 23 years, and I was a lieutenant at the time when I ran for sheriff, and there's a couple that left simply because they didn't like me. And that's just the way it is. And really, my hat's off to them instead of staying and being toxic in the workplace. So I have no problem with that. I lost a couple to the state for better paying jobs. A state job was their goal, and when it came open, they left. I lost one to a medical. He started wearing heavy equipment, and because of all that heavy equipment that he was wearing, he found a medical issue that he had. He still works with us part-time, but no long periods of sitting in a vehicle with a gun belt and a vest and all that weight. I have lost a couple of policy violations. But you know, with that said, I still have 4 of them that have left that retain a reserve deputy position. So 4 of them have stayed around to continue to work for us and serve the community. So that's a plus. I know here in Whitehall, community relations is really important in Whitehall. And it is everywhere. But, okay, so I started working here when Topper was here. And you would call Topper's house with a problem. and Topper's wife, Gail would take your call, and she would page Topper out, or Ram, and they would take care of it. No calls had to be made to Boulder. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's kind of the way it happened. And Chad Cross, my captain, is the same way. People can call Chad at home, and he'll take care of business, and if it's really serious, he'll reach out and let me know. But that's what Whitehall likes. So in the last couple weeks, we have hired and set through the Academy Charles Renfro, and he has lived here for a couple of years and worked for DOC as a sergeant. So he's here, and his family's here, and his kids go to school here. And our second one that we hired is Dana Gabori. I like to call him Cadbury because I couldn't pronounce his name at first. But he has a couple of youngins that go to school. So I think it's successful when you can hire people from the community that are qualified to fill those spots. Now, will it be successful? I don't know. When I became sheriff, we didn't have an FTO program, a field training officer program. You know, you hopped in with one of the older deputies and they showed you around and said, don't do this and don't go there, and this is how you get a hold of dispatch. And I think Dave and I were both trained that way. But now we have an FTO program that lasts 3 months. And we have FTO trainers that go to get certified to do that job. And they're very trusted people within the organization to show how we want things ran and how we want people treated. Is it successful all the time? No. Do we learn from it? Yes. And that's just the way life is. We take our bumps, we take our praises and kudos and move on. Any other questions?